Now, I don't believe in hell, but if it did exist, I've got to imagine the seventh ring cannot be worse than Texas A&M at a Charlie Kirk Klan rally. We have got to give it up for my man bartender here, though, when the Nazis came on stage. Fuck that Nazi! But anyway, I got the incredible opportunity to travel to hell and back with 30 of the best and bravest people on the internet, some personal heroes of mine that I never dreamed I'd have the opportunity to go do good works with and get in good trouble with. We went down there to see just how big of a little bitch Charlie Kirk really is, and we found out that he is the biggest little bitch in the history of big little bitches. That real-life Stephen King monster that somebody let crawl up out of the sewer and identify itself as a man was worse than I thought he could be, and I already thought he was going to be the fucking worst. If you haven't heard about it by now, and I don't know how you couldn't have, because we are the talk of the fucking internet, a bunch of proud members of the Unfuck America Tour's traveling circus came from all over the country to confront Charlie Kirk and tell him that he needs to stop grooming children. We're going to give him the chance to debate some adults and give those kids the opportunity to hear from and talk to some of the most diverse groups of people that have possibly ever been assembled, definitely that I've ever had the privilege of working with. We had Dean and Parker there to make sure that we could embarrass Charlie back under a rock and call him out on his bullshit. We had booth space reserved just 20 feet from Charlie's tent in the quote-unquote free speech zone of Rudder Plaza at Texas A&M. And of course we had a feeling that chicken shit Charlie would chicken the fuck out, but we had no idea the lengths that he and the absolute trash people that run Texas A&M would go to stop us from stopping them grooming children. First off, the night before the event, when we went to go set up in our space that we had reserved for nearly a month, Charlie got Texas A&M to pull our booth permit from their self-proclaimed free speech zone. First, they told us we were going to have to rent out the amphitheater because they didn't realize how many people were coming, and Charlie was going to need the space, figuring that that would deter us. So we rented out the amphitheater and started trying to figure out how we were going to direct people there. When that didn't deter us, they told us we weren't allowed to bring our own private security that we had already set up and paid for, and that we had to use campus security, and that was going to cost us thousands more than the private security was. So fine, we'll pay a fuck ton more money to put our lives in the hands of security paid by a campus that doesn't want us to be there. What could go wrong? And when that didn't deter us, when we'd already been telling people to go to Rudder Amphitheater, they decided to move us to the other side of campus in Aggie Park, like a fucking mile away. And they must have figured that that was going to stop us from drawing any of Charlie's crowd at all because we were just so fucking far away and had no time to advertise where our location was going to be. But I learned that if you put 30 content creators with ADHD together, fucking anything is possible, and you better believe that we were getting people over there. I mean, we came to unfuck shit up, and it didn't matter what obstacles Texas A&M trash put in our way, we were gonna unfuck shit up. But they weren't done yet. Once they saw that we were still drawing a crowd and we were still going to do what we came there to do, they turned the fucking sprinklers on where we were set up. And then they charged us $4,000 to shut them off for interfering with their irrigation schedule. It was the peak heat in the middle of the day on a Texas Tuesday. That is not when you water the fucking lawn. With the incredibly diverse group of people we had, that shit gave, you know, fire trucks in the 60s undertones, if you catch my drift. I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. Texas A&M administration, you are bad fucking people who have no business educating anyone. What you did was appalling in every sense of the word. You owe every single person there and every student who came out to see us a fucking apology. And while all of this was going on, you had all of us creators trying to debate Charlie Kirk. We would get in line and they'd switch the line that they were picking from. The people running around trying to figure out who was with the tour so they could blacklist us. And then when even Charlie Kirk's own supporters were calling him out for not debating Dean.
It's a very move on your part to keep avoiding Dean.
I have some disagreeing questions. Do you think I could ask him?
Well, that's something you're going to have to talk to somebody else about.
Hey, Charlie, Dean's here!
Me and Kirk should have a conversation.
100%. I think that we are in the free marketplace of ideas. Anyone should be able to come up here and challenge and debate. If you're really for that, as you say you would allow someone to come up here and debate you on that.
Charlie didn't fucking debate him. Color me shocked. The amount of courage that the kids that did manage to get up there and speak truth to power in front of a fucking Nazi rally of people who absolutely hate them is insane. For us creators who are there, it's one thing. We ain't got to see any of them motherfuckers again, but those kids who go to school there, they've got to be in class with those Nazis tomorrow. And let me tell you what, there was no warm and fuzzy vibes of safe and mutual respect from that crowd or any indication that the college would do anything to protect those kids from hate, harassment, or violence. Even looking like me, I would not feel safe on that campus. I can't imagine how the marginalized kids that go to school there feel. But it dawned on me just how absolutely important the work we're doing is after talking to students like this.
A&M is one of the most conservative campuses in the entire nation, so I mean, as a minority and somebody who's very left-leaning and not particularly very religious, it's been really hard to, you know, find my people or feel safe around campus because it's really scary. I mean, there were so many people. We were outnumbered like crazy. It's
like a fucking clam rally over there.
For once, I can breathe easily and feel like it's a safe space here. I'm so happy that y'all guys are here. They all chose A&M because it's super duper Republican. So thank y'all guys so much for being here.
Before Charlie could get off scot-free, one of our great content creators, Simple Black Theory, was able to sneak through and fucking cook Charlie on the mic for 20 minutes. And during this time, when discussing DEI, Charlie Kirk told a black man that his ideology was no different than the Grand Wizard of the KKK.
Your worldview is indecipherable from the KKK.
And when Simple Black Theory was done with Charlie, Charlie was done with the event, even though he still had time on the schedule. It just took one of us to get through to him and make him tuck tail and run inside to his private event that we weren't allowed into for the evening. Despite all that, it actually turned out better than if everything had gone to plan. Because in addition to exposing just how much of a fraud Charlie Kirk is, and how discriminatory Texas A&M is, and how much they will charge people they disagree with to exercise their rights to free speech on a state campus. Also because it forced us to be better and be everywhere and be more immersed with the crowd, it allowed us to give students the chance to actually meet the real people that Charlie's propaganda demonizes. BIPOC, LGBTQ people, atheists, believers who aren't nut jobs, who still truly believe that Jesus teaches love and we need to practice that. Democrats, liberals, progressives. Some of these little incels even got to talk to a woman who wasn't their mother for the first time in their whole life. Well, Charlie ended his event early. We stayed late. We stayed because while people were lined up around the block to get into Charlie's private event waiting for the doors to open, that meant that we had a captive audience. We worked the crowd. Parker, who is one of the most genuine people I've ever met in my life, took time to talk to every person who wanted to have a genuine conversation. Pissed off bartender who's been ordained by the Baptist Church got to inform Christian Republicans that Republicans wouldn't get into heaven. And I got to witness consciously, absolutely body a black man wearing a Charlie Kirk shirt with words I am way too white to repeat. Then we set up shop where Charlie's $20 Temu tent was set up before, and we stayed until after Charlie's second event was done. We had a great crowd. We invited students up on stage to debate, one of whom I have to imagine masturbates to Elon Musk every night because look at this fuck. And look at this beautiful crowd. Guys, this was incredible. I've never felt like I've been a part of anything more meaningful in my life. Having hundreds of people tell us that we made them feel safe and heard and represented is a pretty big deal. I am just incredibly humbled and incredibly proud to have been a small piece of making something like this happen and having the kind of impact on so many people's lives that we did and we want to continue to keep doing. Thank you so much to everybody who supported this, who's donated, who shared the videos, everybody who traveled there to show up. This is your platform. This is your voice coming out of our lips. You did this. You made this happen. You guys should take pride in that because it is something to be incredibly proud of. I am so happy to know that all of you are out there because we are going to need this kind of support to keep the show on the road, literally. They are already dumping massive amounts of resources into trying to shut us down before we even get started, and that proves that we are doing the right thing. They've got way more resources than we could even dream of. He spends $500,000 on each one of these events alone. That's just Charlie Kirk. That's the whole right-wing media infrastructure is now coming after us. Almost certainly going to try to tie us up in court. They are going to slander us. They are already reaching out and harassing multiple creators from the tour. This is going to be a David and Goliath fight. It is going to be a long fight. It is going to be a hard fight, but it is the right fight, and I'm happy to be in it. I love you all.